Yo, welcome back, you guys. Told you guys I'll be back at it a lot more, so let's get this thing rolling. Today's gonna be a quick video. It's not gonna be too in-depth. What's gonna be in-depth on as far as what it's about in terms of my vocal chain, recording equipment wise, and then I'm gonna do part 2. That's gonna show you what it looks like in terms of my plug-in vocal chain. But I'm just gonna show you guys today what my vocal chain looks like in terms of the audio signal path coming from the microphone, starting with the mic and then what it's going into next. So yeah, that's what we're getting into today. Corey D, TheGreat, aka Poseidon Soundz, you know exactly what it is. And I'm getting ready to start the video. But before I do that, I appreciate if you guys go ahead, like and subscribe to the video. That way I can keep this content coming to you guys. And you guys go ahead and comment, like if any of this information is informative to you, so we can keep the discussion going down below. So let's just get straight into it. All right, so first piece of equipment that I have in my vocal chain. I don't know if you guys see that. The mic sometimes, sorry, the camera sometimes take a minute to adjust to the point of focus, but this is the TLM 103. And this is a condenser microphone. And the reason why I went with the Neumann TLM 103 is because it's the mic that I had the most use with in terms of recording on when I first started off making music. Every studio that I happened to come across ended up having the TLM 103 wherever I recorded. So when it came time for me to get my own recording setup, I ended up going with the TLM 103 too. That's why I use it to today. I like the microphone. I've definitely learned how to mix accordingly with it to get my vocals to how I would like them. I will tell you that this mic does have a very bright top end to it. I feel like somewhat it makes my voice thin, and until I started mixing my own music with this mic, I always felt like my vocals would come out super bright and they didn't necessarily have that body to it. But this is a very good mic for clarity purposes wise, and overall, all around, it's a workhorse. You can mic different things like drums, vocals. It's a very Swiss Army knife that you can use this mic for. It's not the best for everything, but you can use it on everything in need be, and it'll come out with great recordings. But like I said, when recording with this for my own vocals, and so I started mixing my vocals, this thing always came out kind of bright, so I didn't necessarily like it. And then I started mixing my own vocals, and I learned how to thicken up my own vocals through various processes. So that's the first thing. First thing in my vocal chain is the TLM 103. And then, sorry, leaving from the mic, the next piece of equipment that the signal path hits is the Great River, my Great River preamp. This is a ME1NV Great River preamp. This is a 1-channel preamp. They do offer a 2-channel one, and I got this one because, like I was telling you about the mic, let me see, make sure that's focused. Like I was telling you guys about the mic, my vocals ended up feeling kind of thin coming out the TLM 103, and when I was looking for ways to give it more body and whatnot, having a good preamp is what I came across and learned that could help me achieve that type of thickness in vocals that I wanted. Funny story about this thing is that I had it for about 2 years before I actually learned how to use it correctly. For those who don't know, what the preamp does is that it boosts your vocal signal coming from the mic or an instrument to line level. That's what it's supposed to do, and then it goes to an analog digital converter to be able to go into a preamp that the computer is able to recognize signal wise whatever DAW you're using. So this is my external preamp that I'm using. A lot of interfaces come with already built-in preamps as well as digital audio converters, but I wanted to find something that could help thicken up my vocals. And when I said that I was using this wrong, is that I was still getting, I felt like I was getting a cleaner signal, but I still wasn't getting what I wanted in terms of the body from my vocals. And when I did my research, I think I was on Gear Sluts, and everybody's talking about, oh, this thing makes vocals, it can make things super heavy, make it feel thick, whether it's on bass, vocals, or whatever, you can use this thing, and I just didn't know how to use it. And then about 2 years after that, I found out that by dialing up the gain level on this thing, and then if you back off the output level, the more that you turn the gain to the right, and then you back off the output level, that's actually how you are able to create harmonic distortion, and you create saturation through that, and you are able to dial in the amount of saturation you want by continuing to turn the gain knob and then backing off the output to a level that you're satisfied with in terms of saturation wise. So for a long time I was using this wrong, and that's one thing, you guys, don't buy equipment just to buy it. This did have a purpose when I bought it, but I didn't understand how to use it. So make sure you know how to use your equipment, otherwise it's going to be going to a waste. And make sure you get the max out of your equipment before you go ahead and upgrade. But I love this thing now. I love the saturation that it gives me and how I'm able to add that thickness to my voice. So I ended up being able to use it for what I wanted to use it for, but not for a while until I learned how to actually use it. So that's the second piece. So then, leaving from my preamp, the signal goes into my audio interface, or my analog digital converter, which is the Apogee Duet 2. And so before I was using the Apogee Duet 2, you guys focus in on that. Before I was using the Apogee Duet 2, I was using a Focusrite 2i2, which is a great preamp. That was just on my first beginner setup that I had. And I ended up going with this one because I wanted to use an external preamp in combination with the audio interface / analog digital converters. So if anybody knows a little bit about audio preamps and some of these interfaces that you get, things like the Scarlett 2i2 have built-in preamps in them, but you're not able to add analog saturation like you are able to do with the external hardware analog preamps. So I went with the Duet 2 because they have a function that allows you to bypass the internal preamp circuitry, and that way you're able to hook up the great River preamp that I do have and bypass any type of coloration or any type of the signal hitting the circuitry through the internal preamp of the Duet 2 or any other preamp. So recently I was going to upgrade to the Apollo Twin, UAD Apollo Twin, but I ended up finding out that there's no true way to actually bypass the circuitry in the Apollo Twin, and I wanted to use all the UAD plugins with that one. I have a UAD satellite that I use, but I wanted to be able to use my my UAD plugins and with one piece of hardware instead of having to also have the satellite. I would have been able to delete the satellite, and then that would have just been one piece of gear that I was able to get rid of, because I would have had my interface and my satellite, essentially UAD plugins, all in one. But I couldn't do that because I found out that on the Apollo there's no way to bypass the internal preamp so that the preamp doesn't mess in any way with the signal coming from the external preamp. So I ended up going with the Apogee Duet 2 because you can bypass the internal preamp and you can use an external analog preamp with it. I love this thing. It's super light, super mobile. I'm able to take this thing on the go when I'm just want to bring my studio setup on the go, whether I'm producing with beats or whatever. I love this thing. Hopefully Apogee go ahead and come out with the 3 version, I guess, maybe, of this, because this thing has been out for a while and I love this thing. Great analog to digital converters. It's nice. So yeah, this is the third thing in my signal path in terms of my vocal chain. Apogee Duet 2. And this is kind of like a bonus thing, like I had mentioned before. This doesn't go through my vocal chain, or this isn't part of my vocal chain, but in a way it is. So like I was mentioning before, I do have a UAD satellite. This is a satellite 2 quad. This has 4 processors inside of it. My vocal chain signal path does not pass through here, but this is a very important step in terms of my vocal chains on my DAW, which is Pro Tools. I use the compressors that UAD makes, 1176 and LA2A. I use that, and this is how I'm able to use those compressors in my mixing vocal chain. It's through the UAD satellite. So basically this just allows you to use UAD plugins. If you don't have a UAD interface or any UAD hardware, you have purchased a satellite and you're able to use their plugins, because you have to have a piece of hardware from UAD, Universal Audio, to be able to use their plugins. So this is what the satellite does. The satellite allows me to use their plugins, and I use their compressors on my vocal chain inside of my DAW. So the audio signal doesn't actually pass through here, but this is an important step in my vocal chain in terms of mixing, and it's all done through the UAD satellite. If you do purchase an Apollo Twin or any of their interfaces, you are able to, you don't have to have this. Like I was mentioning before, I was trying to delete this thing by getting a UAD Apollo Twin, but you can't bypass the internal circuitry on the preamp. So I couldn't use that. But if you have a UAD interface, you can use their plugins, of course, and you don't have to have a satellite. This is a Thunderbolt 2 input for this one. So they make these in Firewire, they make them in Thunderbolt, but this one is the Thunderbolt for the Mac. That was just a quick video of me showing you guys my vocal chain going into the DAW, going into Pro Tools. Probably do a part 2 just showing you guys my mixing vocal chain once you're actually inside the DAW in the box. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the setup. It would be cool, you guys go ahead and post your guys setup. Let me know what you guys are using in terms of mic, interface, preamp. How are you guys getting your signal from the mic into the actual DAW? Post your setups, let me know what you guys have. If anybody else has had the Great River preamp, that's not one that I know too many people in terms of hip hop that I know that have been in studios. I've read a bunch of people online having them, but I haven't actually been in a studio that actually had a Great River preamp. Like I said, I love the thing. People online rave about the thing. Let me know if you've ever used the Great River preamp. I'm sure plenty of you guys have came across the TLM 103. Let me know what's your take on that if you guys have ran across that. And then let me know what audio interface you guys are using. Are you guys like me? You guys are having an external preamp bypassing the circuitry of your audio interface that you're just using as an analog digital converter, or are you guys just using all-in-one like a Focusrite or even a Duet or an UAD Apollo Twin or something like that? Let me know what you guys are using in terms of your setup. Alright, so until we get to the next video, which is going to be just my vocal chain in terms of in the box mixing and plugin, this is going to be it for the video. Hope you guys liked the video. Again, appreciate if you guys can like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, that way you can know when I post a new video. That's it for today. We can get into the next one in a couple of days, maybe tomorrow if I find some time. I got a couple of beats I need to work on, a couple of songs I need to write, a couple of things I need to mix, but we're gonna keep these videos coming. That's it for today, and we out.